quickly, they were saving children from the burning house. The initial verse, where the Buddha applied compassion and wisdom for the sake of his one great cause. So we covered that in the previous sharing. So compassion and wisdom is actually referring to virtues and wisdom. So compassion of the heart, wisdom of the mind, to the heart and the mind in practice. So he is like a compassionate father, which we all should all get on this bodhisattva path, but you should emulate. And because the first bodhisattva vow, right, is to help deliver all sentient beings. And he sees sons immature and causing trouble. And this will always happen when the mind is not enlightened. And including ourselves, that sometimes we do fall into our own habitual tendencies. And with the right faith, we can eliminate all disasters. And it's the right faith is what we are committed to be on this path, and especially all the precepts that we keep. So in Master's concern, sentient beings are immature, and which I can see which is happening in this world today. And so there are a lot of people with different thoughts, deviations, and so on and so forth. So for us, we need to also understand that when we walk this path, we need to make sure we do not deviate in the virtues and do not have wisdom leaks. So nevertheless, we are amongst people we are stubborn, do not listen, and willing to learn. And that's just what's happening in the world today in this Dharma degenerating age. They play and very restless and cannot abide by the rules. And you can see that people, I mean, yesterday sharing, and there are some people who know the rules, but they will continue to break them. So nevertheless, we need teachers who will not give up on the students. And so when we walk on this bodhisattva path, we got to be very relentless, not only in our cultivation, but also in helping others. So therefore, the Buddha is like compassionate parent that we should try to emulate. No matter how badly the children behave, the children will love them. You see, this is the part that if we undertake the bodhisattva path, which I'll show you in a later slide, is to undertake to help sentient beings without exception. So, the Buddha mindfully devised the teachings. The only solution was proper belief, and this is what we need to develop. And this proper belief, we need to first of all inspire others, especially the youngsters we spoke of yesterday. We stray from this belief, you are slow to accept the Dharma. And so we take time to gradually grow. But the boys, and this will make the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. And the reason why I'm born Bodhisattva is because it's the Bodhisattva path that we are working on right now. So those the qualities of the Buddha is what we should try to emulate. So it's also a guiding teacher of the 3-year-olds. And I hope the children will work hard and have proper behavior. So on this Bodhisattva path, and we must be then conscious in our practice. Master mentioned the 4 great vows for infinite minds. So the 4 great vows is to upkeep and uphold our internal cultivation. The 4 infinite minds are to uphold and to upkeep the external cultivation. So one with awareness, the other one with mindfulness. And as I said, sentient beings without exception, that's what we should be looking at, and not to select those people who are transgressing. We should also continue to help them, so irregardless. So the parable of Samyutta Sutra, I wouldn't run to it since all the brothers and sisters already shared that, but I just want to point out a couple of points here. This parable is about teaching about causes and conditions, right? So that the kind king delivered a good cause, and obviously then they give the poor man a chance to serve. But this is also arising, we do not know past causes as well. So it is all about letting go. And this walking the Bodhisattva path, there are a lot of sacrifice that one has to make. And that is the part that I think in our own self, when we walk this path, which I'll come to you in a later slide, that we have to learn to let go. There are also other parables, for example, Gan En, about sacrificing her eyes. There's a story behind it, but I don't have time to share that. The Buddha in one of his past life. So there are also a lot of other stories that they sacrifice. And the other one, obviously, you may have heard of the Journey to the West about Sanchong as well. So walking on the Bodhisattva path requires the four infinite minds. The four infinite minds are the one, especially so when we are in practice walking amongst the masses and the external cultivation. So we develop the heart of the Bodhisattva, and so they have to do so. We must limit our affliction and help to limit their affliction. Affliction can only be eliminated if we acknowledge we have them. And only then when we take it to heart that we can sincerely uproot them all. And the problem is we have, hang on a second, I think I forgot to switch off my, okay, sorry about that. So have I shut off my slide? No, right? I just shut my slides.
Yeah, your slide is off. Yeah, your slide is
okay.
On,
all right. So walking on the Bodhisattva path, and so to do this, we need to develop our heart, right? Because the doorway to enlightenment is through the mind, but the doorway to the mind is through the heart, and just this reason why I think Master mentioned about we need to develop the Bodhisattva heart. Then only then the wisdom, the Dharma can penetrate the mind. So a lot of us still have a lot of attachment inside us, and that is why Master gave the example of the entrepreneurs, and it's hard to balance, like Sister Chuen said. And so what can we do then? When you come to us to the end of this, and I think a couple of slides later. So let me quickly run through this Sutra verse and the Master explanation. This is time for them to quickly leave, so they will not be burned in the fire. So quickly means we have to seize this moment, and the problem is that the children have lost their senses of reason. But aren't we all sometimes, when we come to certain moments and a condition, especially in very extreme circumstances, our craving comes in, could be greed, anger, delusion, and so on and so forth. So they crave for pleasure, fame, and wealth. And this refers to the 5 desires that Master mentioned a few days ago. So we're still stubborn, and this analogy for sentient beings who cling to cyclic existence, which is a self-cyclic existence, transmigrating in the 3 worlds. So to get out of this, very clear, Hualien Master said, we have to cut the chain of causation. Otherwise, we'll still remain in samsara. So what are these lessons that we learned from today? So we need to go beyond listening. We must promptly seize the moment the house is burning quickly, and to accept the Dharma and practice it. But practicing it means we got to be very mindful in our internal cultivation and external cultivation. Then by saving ourselves and saving others, we can bring peace to the world. And this is how to start with each one of us. So we must start with ourselves. So if we go back a few days ago in the analogy of the 3 major calamities and the 3 minor calamities, as I mentioned in my sharing with you all, when this gets very frequent, these are signs of the changing towards cessation of the kalpa. And obviously, it may take a long time to do that, but then for us to be able to then understand those conditions, we have to look at ourselves and try to save others. So the householder in practice, as Sister Cheng Yen also mentioned about, and it's very difficult because you see, must understand a lot of our masters are monastics, we are householders. So how do you then apply that in the practice? So many commitments. And then we got to calculate to the best of our ability, and these are depending on the conditions we are in, and we have to sacrifice and we let go. More importantly, I think we need to be honest with ourselves, because if we do not, it's very difficult to change and be sincere in our practice. So commitments, I don't have time to share this, but I can maybe one time, sometime if you remind me, I'll share with you my 5 commitments. Very broadly, It's about steady diligence, steadfast dedication, sincere devotion, serious determination, and strict discipline. And that's what the 5 commitments are about. So in contemplation, do not yearn for anything not given to you. And that is grasping in nature, especially for us as householders. Do not crave for any desire, again relating to us as householders. The emptiness you realize in their forms will make you a being of harmony. And then what we should do, harmony only not with people that work with, but harmony with nature and harmony in our practice. So spend this life in a noble practice of self-discovery to develop in self-perfection with the commitment and discipline to keep the precepts, which I just explained to you the 5 commitments are, but I don't have time to elaborate on those. So contemplation and relationship, a very short one. A moment of unawareness is a doorway of ignorance. Okay, so very clearly then a doorway of ignorance is a sleep of delusion. So we could be very mindful of how we behave in our external cultivation. So with that note, thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Gan En so much, Brother Chin, for this wonderful, wonderful sharing. Can we take a group photo, everyone? Please on your video. Everyone,
I'm 1 minute late.
Yeah, no problem. Gan En so much, brother. Sorry, rush you a bit. Yeah, Saturday. Yeah, with enough time. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our disposition for self sharing. Yeah, at the same time, I think maybe Mr. Tzu Chi, you can get the Sister Chui how to test her slides video.
Gan En, Brother Robert, Gan En, all the wonderful sharing, Brother Chin, and all the sisters, very, very Gan En. Okay, Sister Chui Ha, are you on board?
Yes, she's on board. Yeah.
哎，Sister Chui Ha 看到你了，感恩，可以讲话，我们看到你的 video. The later there will be a translation. Dr. He will do the translation. 可以讲，我们听一下你声音，看可以吗
Unmute.
Mute. Oh, okay. Let me see.
开 the mic.
开机了，可以。
我记得 ，sorry。
好
OK， 大家早上好。
早上好。
好，
早上好，谢谢。我们很期待。
哦，谢谢，是麻烦了啦，因为英语还不是很顺，所以没办法用英语来分享。
可以，我们会尽量。
好的，谢谢。
感恩。好 ，Sister Lily， 可以好 ，Sister Lily 我 play the slide 哦。Sister Lily，you want to test the slide？ 感恩。
OK， wait 啊。
Later will be very 精彩 ，very I don't know. I look at the slide already. Oh, already crying already.
When I prepare also cry for times already. So do I need to give you the signal, say at the next slide or how? So I will give the instruction, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Gan En.
I think back to Brother Robert or Sister Lily. Until what time Brother Robert has?
Yeah, maybe Sister Tzu Chi, you can share a few words Master's teaching today.
Yeah. 感恩，真的是very heartfelt today, especially the story of this the sick man from another kingdom when he heard about this Sarada king who is very compassionate. He went there to seek for his help. The illness in him, I'm looking at myself also, the illness. But this, of course, this one, he needs the story analogy is such that the kings offer his flesh because they need the flesh from someone who is free from the wudu. We always hear from Master the great anger, ignorance, jealousy. Of course, this one is cruelty, but it's similar to the 贪嗔痴慢疑. So for us, I'm asking myself, for us to really cure from this sickness, must be cured from be sick internally, like what Master said, voucher faith is inside us. We need not go and seek from external. But of course, we need Master's teaching. It is very important. I also had a conversation with a commissioner recently, and also imagine that even we're not talking about people outside Tzu Chi, but of course we are not saying that those in Tzu Chi we are really very good spiritually, but imagine for us who are really commissioner, we are supposed to be very close to Master's teaching, but also got 考验. Once the people start to think that, this teaching are meant for those who have the sick, who needs help. For those who are not yet understands Master's teaching, they only need to listen. But those already so maybe they think that they did not need to listen. So that is but we still face challenges in our daily life. When we face issues from others, then the person also explained that people say, if everyone joins Tzu Chi, then then no advancement in the world, because everyone only practice spiritually, no great. But I asked the commissioner, if you look around in Tzu Chi, are all the practitioners all very poor? Of course, we are not talking everyone has to be materially poor. I said, you look at, there are a lot of very spiritually cultivated entrepreneurs. They are doing very, Master never asked us to let go of all our materials. I said, let's not mistaken that way. Spiritually, it's for us to really transform ourselves, find the stillness, the wisdom in us, have close affinity with Master's teaching. So it is easy when people talk to us, we understand what to use. There are so many stories in Tzu Chi. If we are not sure how to explain it in the Dharma term, we can always use the story and share. So that's why I'm also reminding myself, sharing with this commissioner, that never be away from Master's teaching. In fact, that is the medicine. Like this sick man, he has to get the flesh from the king. But we ourselves, we are very blessed. We have Master's teaching as Dharma water to cleanse us daily in our life. Let us wish ourselves, like the last phase, I like what Master said, promptly seize the moment to accept Dharma and practice it. Save ourselves and others, bring peace to the world. This starts from each of us. It's all droplets, dian dian di di. May each of us be blessed and have Master's wisdom, so we can face, we know this world is getting very challenging. But at the same time, all these challenges are the nutrients for the Bodhisattva. So, Gan En, back to you, Brother Robert.